Hello, third grade. I'm back again with the third video for your lessons. We have been talking about the weather, and also I asked you in the last video to keep track of the sunrise and sunset. I have the screen on the website weather.com, so I can refer to that for what I'm going to have you do in this lesson. So if you will remember, we are going to go down a little ways on the page, and we're going to find this information right here. And this is telling us the time of the sunrise and the time of the sunset. So what I would like for you to do is grab your science notebooks, and if you do not have those already, go ahead and pause the video so you can grab those, and then we will be putting this information into our notebooks. So once you have your notebook out, go to a new page and I'm going to have you make this graph. So the title of our graph is going to be sunrise. And you can use each line. We don't need to skip any lines for this graph, but we are going to, on the left side of our page, put these times. So we're putting 6:45, 6:44, 6:43, 6:42, and we're going to keep going down by 1 minute. And the last number that I'm going to have you put in your notebook is 6:30. And notice that I labeled AM. We've talked in science about how we need to make sure that we label things so that we know what they are. We know that this is not 6:45 elephants. We know it's not 6:45 pounds. We're talking about time, and we're talking about the sun rising in the morning, so we use AM for the morning. So again, 6:45 a.m. and then go down 1 minute until you get to 6:30. Then we are going to label on the bottom 5 different rows. I asked you to keep track of the sunrise and sunset for 5 days. So I want you to label day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, and day 5. So what we will do with this graph then is, as we look at our sunrise, if we find on weather.com that it says the sun is going to rise at 6:45, I want you just to put a X on day 1 next to 6:45. For day 2, if the sun is going to rise at 6:45, I will put an X there. I don't want you to put an X on your paper unless you have the time for the sunrise on day 1 or day 2. This is just my example, so you need to record the information the way your observations are made. But when you're done, you should have an X somewhere on this graph for all 5 days. And then in our next lesson, I'm going to have you do one more thing with this graph, and then we're going to look at our data and see if we can learn anything from that information. So the same way that we are making a graph for the sunrise, we need to make one for the sunset. So again, this will need to be on a separate piece of paper because your first one probably took up most of the page. So on the next page that you have open, you're going to label the top of it sunset, and this time we are going to label 8:15 p.m. and then go down 1 minute. 8:14, 8:13, 8:12, 8:11, 8:10, and then 8:09, 8:08, 8:07, all the way down, and you can stop at 8 o'clock. And again, we're talking about time, and we're talking about it being at night, so we are going to use the label PM. We used AM for the morning, we used PM for the evening. And again, as you do your observations, when I look at the sunset for today, I see that it is at 7:59. So on my graph, I have found day 1, because we're labeling those same days as we did in the sunrise graph. So for day 1, the sunset is happening at 7:59, so I put an X for 7:59. So you should have one X in each column for each day as you do your observations, and we will be looking at that information again when we do our next video. So please make sure that you're getting all 5 of your days in there. And then also remember that we are still keeping track of our 5 days of the weather for us to take a look at later on. We will talk about that again in the next lesson also. So make sure you're keeping up on that, and we'll see what we can learn. If you would like to share any of your information or just send me some thoughts, this is my email for the school, and I'd be happy to hear from you. So I will be sending you more videos. Hope you are all doing well. Talk to you later.